King Cole Productions presents Classifying Real Numbers. The first real number you need to know is natural numbers. Natural numbers are counting numbers. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It goes on forever, but it starts with 1. Excludes 0. The next subset, we want to talk about whole numbers. Whole numbers are natural numbers, but you have to start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and etc., etc. The next subset we want to talk about are integers. Integers are basically whole numbers, except for negatives count this time. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And now we go to rational numbers. Rational numbers are integers, plus we got fractions that are equal to a terminating decimal or a repeating decimal. An example of a terminating decimal would be like 1/4, because 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. 0.25 doesn't go on forever. That's it, just 0.25. And even though 1/3 turns into 0.33333333, we like it as a rational number because it repeats the same number. That's what rational numbers are. So, as a review, 1 is a natural number, but 1 is also a whole number, an integer, and a rational number. However, 1/3 is not an integer, is not a whole number, is not a natural number. So here's the trick right here. 0. Is 0 a natural number? The answer is no. 0 is a whole number, 0 is an integer, 0 is a rational number. Let's go to real numbers now. Real numbers are fun because they're all numbers. Every number is a real number. All numbers. Next, irrational numbers. Irrationals are fractions that are decimals that go on forever and or never repeat. Take a look at pi. It's the most famous irrational number. 3.141592 ... It means it goes on forever. See how these aren't the same? This isn't 0.33333. These are all different. And a common question is, yeah, but that one repeats right here. No, no, no. We're talking about it all has to be the same, or it's all random and different. So it goes on forever, and it never repeats. So now, take a look at some numbers that we have. And let's get a look at all these numbers. We have absolute value of -10. We have pi. We have 0. We have 22/7 as a fraction. Square root of 9. -1. Square root of 2. 0.2. We have 3/8, and we have -0.4. And so we want to place these somewhere. Let's start with pi. Pi's already been placed. It is the most famous irrational number. Pi will never be on this side of the board. Pi is only on this side of the board. With pi is pi's best friend, 22/7. Because 22/7 in your calculator gets you that number. And so here's what's important. If the fraction gets you a number that goes on forever and never repeats, it's irrational. Okay? Whereas if you look over here, this fraction gets you 0.375. Well, 0.375 ends. It doesn't go on forever. It ends, which means it's rational, but it's not going to be an integer. It's not a whole number. It's not natural. 0.2, that's a decimal. That ends. So we're going to have 0.2. -0.4, we're going to have that up here as well. That is, even though these are negative, these are not decimals. So it goes here. These are rational numbers right here. Rational, rational, rational. Okay? Square root of 2. Square root of 2 is a funny one because when you do the square root of 2, you get like 1.4142 random, 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 and that is why it is over here. It never repeats, and it goes on forever. Square root of 9 is unique because that's a perfect square. What is the square root of 9? Square root of 9 is 3. So get this. This is a common mistake. 3 goes here, 3 goes here, 3 goes here, 3 goes here. And if I want to keep it as the square root of 9, you can do that. You can put the square root of 9 as, you can remember that. How about the absolute value of any number is how many spaces from 0? So -10 is 10 spaces from 0, which means that is 10. Is 10 irrational? No. Over here. 10 is a counting number, but 10 is also a whole number. 10 is an integer, and 10 is also rational, not to mention real. What's left up here? We've got 0, we've got -1. Can you at home tell where 0 and -1 go? Is 0 going to go for natural? No, it's not. Will it go for whole? Yes. 0 counts for the whole. 0 is also an integer, and 0 is also rational. How about -1? Does that count for natural? No, because that's counting numbers starting with 1. These are counting numbers starting with 0, so it can't go here. -1 is going to go for the integers. And because -1 goes for integers, it's also going to go in the rational column. So let's recap. All these numbers here, as weird as they are all real numbers. We can put those numbers in different categories based on what kind of number they are. Counting numbers starting with 1, counting numbers starting with 0, negative numbers, negative whole numbers, and positive whole numbers. And then these are fractions that turn into decimals or decimals that end, and this fraction and decimal ends. And that's what rational numbers are. But remember, rational numbers are also all of these, and all of these. And real numbers are all of these, and these. These are called subsets of real numbers. This has been a video on classifying real numbers. Thanks for watching.